as gas prices have gone up just a little bit the past week or so. California uses a special gas blend not used by any other state. And while California has not seen a new refinery open since the early 80s, we've had almost 20 refineries close in that time. How would you propose to address California's gas problems that will continue to reoccur in the future?
Well, I was originally appointed by Governor Wilson, the other appointment he gave me when I was a Republican, to represent this area in the California Air Resources Board. I was on that board as a Wilson appointee and then was subsequently reappointed by Governor Davis and Governor Schwarzenegger. And then as a county supervisor here, because we have 4 of the 13 remaining refineries in the state of California here in Contra Costa, and 3 of them are in the Senate District right now. All but Chevron in Richmond is in the Senate District. I've become very involved with the refining process, and I work closely with both sides. I'm very proud of the fact that in Contra Costa County, when I represented this area, we passed the Industrial Safety Ordinance that led to 10 years of fewer incidents than anywhere else in the world, up until this latest incident at Chevron, which is administered by the city of Richmond, as opposed to the other 3 are administered by the county. When I was on the Air Board, I was also the author of something called the Refinery Flare Rule to make the refineries work more efficiently. So we do have a different blend. Governor Brown has just asked the Air Resources Board to allow for the winter blend, which is dirtier gasoline, to be sold earlier. I think that's a good move. I think as chair of the Transportation Committee, our jurisdiction is fuels. I've had a number of oversight hearings, and we're going to have another one over the impact of interruptions on the refining capacity, such as the incident at Chevron, on the overall cost. But one of the things that affected your fuel prices is when the federal government allowed the oil industry to sell fuel as a commodity. So people try to hit the spot market, and that affects the change as well. So it's a free market system, but it's very heavily regulated. It's somewhat like a franchise, and I think we have to have more robust overview of that process.
Very simple question, very complex answer, but as you mentioned, California has a special blend that only is applicable to the state. So while it is true that sometimes the spikes in gas prices have occurred because of Wall Street speculators, what we are experiencing right now is directly a result of California's regulations on itself. We have regulated our gas so that we have this special blend. And because we have this special blend and our refineries are having some issues right now, it is spiking our price because we don't have the refinery capability to keep up with California's demand. You said that it's been 20 years since we built a refinery, yet in that 20 years the state population has grown from roughly 27 million to 39 million. Our capacity is growing, yet through regulations we are not allowing new plants to be built, new refineries. Refineries that could be cleaner, run more efficiently, but we need to get another refinery in the state for that purpose. And the problem is everybody says not in my backyard, and that's a problem that we have to find a solution for. But we need to have better refinery, because right now gas prices are going down around the nation, but they're going up here. And it's because of California's own policies of having a special blend. We may need to consider moving away from this special blend and having a blend with the rest of the United States, so that way we don't have to have this spike. Instead, we can have a level playing field.
Thank you. This one's just a one-word answer.
Here's a challenge.
2 minutes to say one word?
Proposition 8, do you support or oppose it?
Support.
Opposed.
All right. California is famous for its smoke and mirror budgets. What would you suggest be done to actually balance a California budget?
Well, I support Prop 31. Both Democratic and Republican parties does not support Prop 31. As I mentioned before, I've been very active in reform efforts in the state capitol. I was co-chair of a bicameral reform group. My co-chair was Mike Fuhrer from LA. We run around the state. We have a constitution that's the third largest in the world behind India and Alabama. It's the third most amended. It's what I refer to as a Winchester House of governance. We keep adding rooms to it through the initiative process, either the legislature or we as voters. When I first got elected to the State Assembly, one of the leaders of the houses said to me, "Congratulations, you're now one of 120 people with the administration that has control over somewhere between 48% of the budget and 7% of the budget," because it's all driven by these formulas. We have Prop 13, which is a good thing, wanted to protect senior citizens from increases in their property tax, but that's not all that it did. Prop 98, which is the protect schools, that requires us to spend about 50% of all the general fund on K through 12 education. All of these things, I voted for many of them, sounded good by themselves, but when you put them into the overall architecture, it's very, very difficult to govern. We have a number of initiatives right now. So Prop 31 is a bipartisan group, California Forward, to actually have a spending cap, which Democrats don't like, but I think is a good idea. So that, for instance, when we had the tech boom and we did things, we spent it all, knowing that there are economic cycles, we wouldn't have done that. We would have kept war in reserve. I think that's a good idea. On the other hand, there's an evaluation of when you cut taxes, which only takes a simple majority, as opposed to a super majority that was required by the Constitution to raise taxes. When you cut taxes, you have to let the voters know the consequences of those tax cuts. So it's a more analytical, nonpartisan approach to budgeting, which I think is important for California. It's the only way we'll fix the situation we're currently in.
Well, it would help if the budgets were actually available to the public to be seen more than 24 hours before they're actually voted on. You know, it's like the healthcare bill where we have to vote on it to see what, so that way we can see what's in it. That is how California has tried to do its budget process. I was in Sacramento the day before the budget was voted on, and the day that the budget was voted on. And I know that the Republicans had not even seen the budget 24 hours before it was voted on. If we want an open process, we need to actually maybe start following our Constitution. The Constitution requires that the budget bills be, presented in long before they're due. And instead, we've been playing games where we allow these placeholder bills to be passed by one body, moved to the other body, and then at the last minute they are amended and nobody has time to look at them, nobody has time to deal with it. If we want to handle the situation, maybe we should start going back to what our Constitution says and actually introducing these bills at the beginning of the legislature and having vigorous debates over the entire bill, rather than allowing this little tiny thing that we call the state budget. Why do we need to worry about what's in the actual budget? It is one of the few constitutional requirements of a senator or assemblyman. I think the people have the right to know the process is there. Let's stop playing games and let's actually start doing what we're supposed to do as senators and assemblymen.